as kids get ready to head back into the classroom, it's going to be a different year for many of them. Things are returning to normal as more people get vaccinated against COVID-19. But for some children, they may be anxious about returning. If you're a parent in need of some help, our next guest is here with some tips this morning. Please help me welcome back to the show, Susan Harrington, a licensed family therapist with Maison Vie. Welcome back, Susan.
Good morning, Malik. Good morning. And happy August, for goodness sake. It's coming.
I know, I
soon.
can't believe it. Look, school is around the corner. Luckily for the parents out there, we still have a couple of weeks, right, until the kids go back to school. But you really do suggest that parents start planning now for their children's return to classroom full time. Why do you suggest that?
Well, there's a couple of things going on, right? So the CDC guidelines and the WHO, and what they're doing to make suggestions, it changes every time the statistics about where COVID is with itself and the variants happening around the globe. And because those are changing so frequently, families are also responsible to make their decisions just like the schools are making their decisions. It's also really important that families get ready for this because we don't have vaccines for all of our children yet going to school, the majority of them. And the current research for the 5 to 11-year-olds is really concerning. So for them, if they've already got a diagnosis like ADHD, depression, or anxiety, maybe they've had panic issues during this time, or maybe they've had suicidal ideation. For those kids, they're at 24% more likelihood of getting inpatient when they return back to school because of the anxiety that they're feeling. Those kids who don't have the actual diagnosis, but they also have maybe the symptoms associated with it, they're just as much at risk. And so we need to be very intentional in our planning for school this year. It's not just go buy supplies.
That is true. You got to worry about that mental health as well. So what do you tell parents who have kids who, aren't vaccinated yet, but they still want them to stay safe as possible? How do we communicate to them on how they can stay safe?
Yeah, so it is more about how we do what we do when we do it. So the how is really important, not just the doing part, right? And so what we know, and we learned this from the Hurricane Katrina research, we got so much stuff, Malik, from that research. It's amazing. That recovery effort, there's 3 attitudinal changes that as parents, that if we make and we put in our lives, while we do this de-quarantining and do it safely, we're more likely to have success and our kids not end up in the emergency room to get into inpatient units, which are really full, by the way.
Very interesting. De-quarantining. That is a word I'm definitely going to adopt. I also want to adopt these 3 mindsets, these 3 attitude changes that you suggest parents use to help their kids. Tell us about these 3 mindsets.
We have them here on the for the screen for you to see. What we know from the Hurricane Katrina research is that positive progress happened when parents put these things in place in their family. So the first one is about being patient, because when these times when we have a decreased perception of our control, when we think of being patient and considerate and compassionate, what we get is emotional strength. In the second one, when we focus on our responsibilities and not blaming anybody else, in those situations, this helps us make decisions so that for my family, I'm retaining what is true for power and control. And then our distress levels go down. So you're emotionally stronger and your distress level goes down, right? And then the last one's about quality. What we learned from Katrina is when we make meaning, we increase our appreciation for our capability to get through tough times. We believe in ourselves more.
Very interesting. Now, on top of adopting these 3 mindsets, there are 7 additional steps that you can suggest to parents on how to help them get ready to go back to school. There are 7, but there are 2 you really want to hit. Tell us about those 2 really important ones. They're all important, but these 2 that you want to hit.
They are actually very important, and they all work together. So as you look at them on the screen, I want you just to think about them in general. What's really important is that we are genuinely interested in hearing our children's fears and hopes, their confusions. And it's important that we do that equality of mind, having that experience as well. It's really normal for us to feel this way. Now, when it comes to monitoring the health, I want you to think about what you're seeing in your children. You want to look at them intentional when you do. You want to look for emotional or physical withdrawal in their behaviors. You want to look for a decrease in their communication with you. You want to look for a change in their eating or sleeping habits. You want to look for changes in their mood when it makes no sense why their mood consistently seems to be different than their normal personality. As parents, we want to watch for physical complaints. Little ones talk about a stomach ache, a headache, their body hurts. They might be picking their skin or clipping their nails, those sorts of things in the little ones. Temper might flare up. And what's most important when we watch for children is that their developmental milestones will change. And so when those things happen, we know there's regression. And then you need to really call in a therapist if you see that happening.
I think it's so important, especially right here with the have daily check-ins. You know, sometimes, especially me when I was a child, sometimes I wasn't communicating to my parents the problem that I was having. So if your children are communicating to you, parents, ask them, because sometimes they're not going to tell you. Susan, we are out of time. I'm so sorry. I know I can talk to you all hour long, but look, come back on the show because you're always bringing great information. And if you feel like you need to talk to a professional, everyone, Maison Vie is located at 1799 Stump Boulevard in Tarrytown. You can give them a call at 504-452-5937 or log on to MaisonVNewOrleans.com. Stick with us, everyone. We'll be right back.